Oh,
No, I just
okay.
came
That's what you did.
to say hello.
Well, mine, just like yours. And then cut off.
So welcome today to our new knowledge session with our own Sandy Ratliff, the guru of everything apps and absolutely everything Apple. If I can ask a couple of questions, if you'll make sure that your phone is off, or on vibrate so that we don't interrupt our guest speaker. And next week's class is going to be winning back the disgruntled customer. And we're excited about that. So, but before we win back our disgruntled customer, we're going to make our business really strong with apps in business in Sandy Ratliff.
Oh, here's your quarter. I'm saying those nice things. Thank you. Good afternoon. Come on. Good afternoon.
Good
Okay, good. I thought I was going to be here by myself. I see people, but nobody interacts. That's because you got your mouth full. Well, welcome to our Apps in Business. This is part of our new knowledge series. And what my goal to the next hour and a half is to introduce you to some new apps that may help you in your busy professional day. You know, those that most everybody in here knows me, and you know that I live and breathe on my iPad. That's pretty much how I operate. When you see me coming into a meeting, it's usually with my iPad. And that's pretty much it. And using your devices to do more than just doing a little bit of email and surfing the internet is, we put a lot of money into them. Let's get the most out of them. So what I want to do is introduce you to some apps that can help you. Quickly, let's go around the room and introduce yourself. I know you all, but I don't know if each other knows. So Jan, I'll start with you.
Okay, I'm Jan Coleman. I'm the portfolio manager for People Incorporated.
I'm Gary McGow. I'm chairman of Bristol Organizations in Bristol.
Natasha Snyder, I'm the senior business trainer and marketing coordinator for People Incorporated.
Andrea Smith, I am the business development trainer at People Incorporated.
Cindy Green, Director of Community Economic Development for People Incorporated.
Our fearless leader.
Sorry.
Gail Lambert, I'm Financial Analyst and IDA Coordinator at People Incorporated.
Don?
Don Williams, Chartered Financial Consultant.
And I'm Jennifer Reedy, the communication coordinator for the Spay Neuter Clinic.
And then helping today is Jennifer Davidson from here at the incubator. And for those of you that are joining us via live stream, welcome. And hope if you have any questions as we go along, just make a little note in the comment section on live streaming, and Jennifer will share that. Hopefully you picked up a card there at the registration table. It's a QR code. You can actually scan this and have the presentation on your device, because the copies, I just made a few, and they may be too small for you to read, but you'll at least have this afterwards that you can refer back to any apps that we've talked about today. There is an app for just about anything you can think of, so, and we're not going to have time to go through the 3.1 million apps that are available in the iTunes and Google Play Store. We're not the only ones using apps. There's about 1.5 billion apps used at the end of 2014, and we're downloading a ton of apps, over 309 billion, and there really is, it's amazing the apps that you can see out there, from putting an app on your phone to where when you're going to the beach and you want to scan to see if there's any metal, turn your device into a metal detection. There's even an app that will allow you to do that. I'm not making this up. There's apps for people with health issues that you can take your blood pressure, you can keep up with if you're a diabetic, you can keep up with things like that. So there is a ton of apps. So what I want to do is introduce you to some that might help you again in your day-to-day life. Plus, there's a lot of money generated through apps, over 26 billion last year. Apps is going to help you, sorry, I went too fast. One of the objectives of having apps is to increase productivity. One of the things I hate is doing something on my computer and then having to do it again on my device and on the other things. One thing that an app will do is kind of sync all of those activities so that you only have to do it once. Time is money, and we all have a lot going on our plate. And I love being on the go, serving 23 counties and staying on the road. The first part of this week I was in Charlottesville, and being able to access any documents that I have, they're there waiting for me. And if someone calls and says, I need something, just like Jennifer, she wants to know an updated registration list, all I have to do is send her the link and she can access it. Or it could be a presentation or a brochure, she has it. And it allows us to do work on the go. No more 9 to 5. I don't think we've done that in a number of years, because now with these devices, no matter where you're at, you're going to be able to, if someone sends you a document, you can bring it up on your smartphone. You can actually use an app that allows you to sign that document and send it right back, because I've done that on the go before. And it makes the task a lot easier to accomplish, and I love being able to collaborate when you're working with teams. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about Google Apps. Something that I love is Google. Well, then we'll get into some of the detail, like financing apps, word processing, presentation, collaboration apps, note-taking. I don't carry a notebook anymore. I do everything on my device so that I can refer back to it. And then we also want to increase our productivity and functionality, and there's apps that can help you even keep up with your mileage if you're driving your own personal car for business. The app will keep up with all your mileage, and you can, maybe if you're working on multiple accounts, if you're a consultant, you can keep all that and have it synced and go to your billing app. There's things that you can do there. And also some more apps. So whenever you're looking at buying an app, and especially if it's not free and you're investing, you know, one of the things I always tell people is to step back and look what you've got existing on your computers. And then see if there's anything out there that's going to help you to do the same thing on your device, but also maybe there's some redundancy that you're doing. Maybe you're doing one thing in accounting, you're using Excel, but you're using another accounting app to do something else, to do your billing and so forth. Maybe there's an app that will combine all that into one. You need to look at that. So let's go exploring apps. How many of y'all use Google Apps? Love, love, love. I mean, if you even have a Gmail account, you're using an app to do that, sending out your email. And Google is probably one of the biggest and most used, because, I mean, some of us, we have multiple Gmail accounts, but also you can use it on no matter what kind of device, whether that be a Droid, an iOS device, depends on the types of tablets, even on your computers. You've got it. What I like about using Google Apps is, as I'm doing it, they're automatically syncing up into the cloud, and I can access a lot of that data, like in Google Drive, and I don't have to worry about missing anything. And you can also share documents easily through Google Drive, and we're not the only organizations using it that's using more and more. There's over 5 million organizations that they're not so much using Microsoft anymore, they're using Google to do everything from creating documents to building their calendars. Google Drive, if you've got a Gmail account, you have access to 15 gigabyte of free storage. And if you have multiple Gmail accounts, look at all the different storage that you have that you're not having to pay for. That's free within it. I'm going to go into some detail on some of these Google apps that you can look at. Again, Gmail, it's where you can send and receive emails. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can do it on your phone. You can even have it set it to where you're receiving Gmail emails coming into your devices. Another thing too, when you don't have to worry about, well, I've got a new computer and I don't want to have to invest in Microsoft, you can use Google Docs to create and edit documents, even Word documents, if you have access to them. You can even create presentations. You don't have to worry about PowerPoint now. You have that available on Google Docs. And then spreadsheets, that's another thing. You can keep up with RSVPs, you're doing an event, keep up with that, run quick surveys, do a team roster, all kinds of stuff that you can do with Google. One of the things I use Google Docs or Google products is in regards to surveys. Like today, when you complete the survey that Jennifer handed out, when you put that data in, if you even scan the QR code, that'll bring up a form that you can have on your device. You complete that information, And as soon as you hit send, that automatically populates a spreadsheet on Google Docs, and you have all of that. Which means, again, it's free. It's very, I even do my weekly reports to keep up with my mileage, how many events I've done, how many folks that I have did counseling for, and every week I have a form that I've already completed. And every time that I add to that, it just adds another line onto my spreadsheet. And it puts in all that information. So if Richmond called and said, okay, over the last 6 months, Sandy, I want you to tell me how many events you had, how many people participated in those events, how many counseling sessions. I can even go bring up that spreadsheet and I can save it, export it into Excel, and then I can add all that column up and I can tell you, okay, last year I did 95 workshops, 160 counseling sessions, and I have all that data, which saves me from having to go through every single weekly report and try to get those numbers. It could take you a whole day, and that's wasted. In a matter of seconds, I've got that information. It's great. Anybody use Google Forms? How are you all using them?
I use them in different ways. Sometimes I use them to create sections of presentations or to keep up with, mostly I use them for personal things, but
Well, right now we're using a Google form for the training, the workshop that we're doing. The people that are verifying their businesses, they have to fill out a Google form.
we're
And
doing
then-
the Google training sessions.
Yeah, and so we keep track of those Google forms, that we fill out.
Well, when we created a form last fall, I guess it was for the new knowledge series. And so in the spring, when we were getting ready to start the new class from 2015, Jennifer was able to quickly go through and see where people filled out the evaluations and what other training they needed. So we could see, okay, we got more people needing help in marketing, so we could do more events catered to marketing, or it could be that they need help in finance. So that gave us some type of direction instead of just going at that blank sheet of paper and not knowing where to start and finish. And that could be something, Donna, you could use as a survey for your customers. What other needs? Is there an area that you would like for me to focus on? I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do it on. Same with your Bristol organizations, Gary, too. That would be a great thing to see when you're planning ahead.
Is it, where do you access this? This is,
When you bring up your Gmail account,
yeah,
on the top right, there's these blocks. It looks kind of like the Brady Bunch block. And you click that, and it'll start giving you drop downs where you can access and find those things. Or you could go to Google, or again, it's available in your Gmail, wherever, whatever program it seems like you're in, you've got that little Brady Bunch blocks up there that you can just click on, and that'll give you access to them. And then again, I mentioned about Google Drive. You can upload all your documents and have access to them. And for those of you that have devices with only 16 gigabyte of memory and you start running out because you've got all those photos, I tell people, why don't you upload it to Google Drive, fix you up a photo, and you can actually have your photos from your phone backing up to Google Drive, and then once they're backed up and you can verify it, then you can delete them off your device, and you've got that extra space. And then Google Hangout. There's always those times when we've got to have a meeting with our partners or folks that we work with, and we can't all be in the same location at the same time. A lot of my problems is the distance where I am from Richmond and what have you, and the other staff members. So you can actually do a Google Hangout where you can actually do a video conference call and have up to 10 people on that conference call at the same time. And you can share information. You could actually do a Brady Bunch. You could actually do share documents. You could almost do a webinar using Google Hangouts for a small group. And again, the cost is zero. It's free. Can't beat it.
Do you think that works better than FaceTime?
Well, FaceTime, you can only do one person.
Right.
And even with Skype, if you do multiple, you have to pay for it on Skype. So this is giving you an option to where if you want to have a team meeting with all your folks, then all they need to do is have Google Hangouts on their devices, and then you schedule it, and then they click to it, and you're able to have all 6 or 8, 10 of your staff people on a conference call.
Without tying up multiple
Yeah.
devices.
Mhm. It's just a,
Can some be on the phone and some on a computer? Can you use that?
well, if they're on a, you mean on a smartphone?
On a
Yes,
smartphone?
yes, uh-huh,
And/or a computer?
mhm.
Okay.
All they have to do is hit that link. Now, they'd have to have a computer, Gary, that would have a video, have a camera. You know,
Yeah.
you have to be set up for that, but yes. But again, it's another option you can do. You can also, Google Sites will allow you to have for an inter-office intranet that you need to do to be able to share information. You can even create that in Google Sites. And then Google Calendars. I love Google Calendars because I can create multiple projects and I can invite a certain group to share that calendar with me so that when I plan a new event, it's going to show up on their calendar and I might give that a certain color. But again, I'm not having to micromanage everybody. I've sent you the information, you share it, so every time I make a change or you make a change, it's going to show up on that Google Calendar so that we're not having to send a ton of emails back and forth. You can also publish those calendars up on your website too for some people. When you're planning events, you can have that. You can have the calendar right up and it's live. Any questions on Google? There'll be an essay test after this, so I suggest you better be paying attention.
Before that happens.
Financing and accounting, that's all part of business, isn't it? And, you know, a couple weeks ago, we just finished up a series of 4 months of QuickBooks, and there is a QuickBooks app that you can actually do everything you're doing on your desktop right on your smartphone or device. So if somebody calls you and said, "Did you receive my payment?" all I have to do is bring it up on my app because it's syncing it to the cloud, and I can see if that payment was received or not, or if I need to send an invoice, you can just do all that right on your app. Now, I will say QuickBooks, you get a 30-day free trial, but that's when they start kicking in, and it's not free to use. It's about $100. Expensify, for those of you that do a lot.
About $100 for a year or just a one-time fee?
I think it's an annual, is it? That's what I thought it was annual. If you do a lot of traveling for business and you need to keep up with, you know, I always hated when I did a lot of traveling that when you got back and you had to spend half the day keeping up with all your expenses, all your tips, parking, shuttle services, all that. Now, as you're on that trip, you can keep up, like you could scan that receipt from dinner. You could go ahead and just scan that all and put that all into that trip and your airfare and everything, and then at the end of that, all you have to do is now send Gail that document that has that whole expense for that trip. And that saves a lot of time. Because you've already scanned those receipts and you've taken a picture of it. So it's not like you've got to send her all that. You can do everything electronically, which is going to save time. This is one of the most, the highest rated apps out there for travelers. And by the way, it's available for the Droid and the iOS devices. And then accounting apps, I loved last fall when Microsoft decided to allow us to have access to all of their Word and Excel and PowerPoint, and now you can have Excel on your device, especially for the iOS, and it's free. I know when I am traveling and I need to keep up with the registration activity, I can export the file that's from our registration site and put it into Excel and have it tied to a cloud service. So as I'm making that update, if I've shared the link with Jennifer, she's going to be able to see that I made a change in that, and she can have access, and I can keep all of that information updated. And again, Excel is one that is free. So if you're used to using it on your desktop, it's going to look almost the same on your device. Anybody use Excel now on their? I do too. And then Numbers is an iOS program it's pretty much like Excel, kicked up on steroids a little bit. You can do tons of stuff, and, but it's not free for, if you've got an older version. I think some of the newer versions, they're offering that iWorks suite free, and that's part of the iOS, iWorks. I had to pay $9.99 when I got it, and that hurt. FreshBooks is a very popular online accounting and billing software. Again, same thing, you could be doing it, creating, having all your accounts out there in the cloud using your computer, but then you're on the go, you're 500 miles away and someone wants to know, did you receive my payment? Where you can actually receive payments using FreshBooks, and as you're working on that, it's automatically syncing. You're not keeping anything on your computer, on your device. It's all going to be up in the cloud, which is also going to be a great thing. If something happened to your device, that means you've not lost out on all of those records. You've got it right there. And it's free. And it's available for Android and iOS and, of course, the internet. Now, the free version only gives you you can have 3 different accounts. Like if you're an accountant and you have 3 different companies that you're keeping up their books, that's the limit. If you go to 4, you're going to have to start paying, and then that'll be incremental to how much you want to purchase. Mint is for those of you, and Dawn, this might be something of interest to you, that you want to keep up with all of your banking accounts, your credit card accounts, all your savings, everything into one location to where you can keep track of it. I had a gentleman that was actually the administrator for a hospital up in Franklin County, and he uses this. And he stepped back and looked at all of their credit card receipts and saw how much they were eating out and how much jewelry and shoes and stuff that were being purchased by his beautiful bride. And he had to have that discussion about maybe we should eat at home more. You know, look what we're spending. But it is a great way to just give you a quick snapshot of just all of your finances into one location. You can have it connected to your bank account, and that means you have one. Once you've got it all set up, you'll just have one password that you have to deal with in all of them.
So you're suggesting we should at all costs keep our husbands from having this particular app?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
I think my husband invented it.
But that's available for the, it's also available on the internet because it's iOS, Android, and then Windows phones for those of you that might have a Windows phone.
How does it pull all that information in? You give them the.
You
checking
give them all
account information?
the account information and logins from those when you've set them up. And then it's all right there so you can have a quick snapshot just to see where you're at. So if you want to quickly look while I've been on that trip, I need to step back and look to see how many credit card purchases and activity that I've been doing. Do you use that? Anything you want to add to it, Charlene?
It's really good because it keeps track of everything and what you count. If it doesn't know, it asks you which count is going in.
I know, he was very, very complimentary of it. So
Does it always do it like as soon as some transaction hits your checking account, it just automatically puts it in that? Ah,
And they'll have a bunch like, you know, if they're not sure where they're to go,
it'll ask you.
it'll ask you.
It'll send you alerts too, if like, my daughter and her husband use it, and if she spends over $300, it sends an alert to their phones.
I'm not doing that with my husband.
Well, maybe he doesn't have it on his phone. Any questions on any of those? Remember, there's over 3.1 million apps for the iOS and Google, and I'm sure there's more out there, but just researching to find what's the most popular and most used, those are some of the major ones. Now, word processing. Everybody, you ever been on the road and someone calls you frantic that I need a letter, or I need to send you something, and you've got to respond in a certain amount of time, and you don't want to have to take the time, and it's 12 o'clock at night, and you're just getting back into town to work on that. You can now have Word on your tablet or on on your smartphone, and that means that wherever you're at, you can either compose a letter, or if someone sends you a Word document, you can review it, make those edits, and then send it right back to them, or put it right up on a cloud service. You've got all of that. And again, the function keys look just like they would on your desktop. I use this lots and lots. Anybody else use it? Feedback? You like it?
I do. When I was in grad school, I actually wrote papers on trips
Yeah,
on
that's what my son
my
did.
tablet.
In college, yeah.
No.
Wasn't the best way to do it, obviously, but there was no other way to do it, and so it made something possible that would not have been.
Plus, you can have it linked to whichever cloud service, so as you're doing it, it's automatically saving it up to your Google Drive or your Dropbox.
Is that the OneDrive?
Whichever one you want to use, you
So,
can use.
because mine is always trying to save it to OneDrive and I just cancel it.
Well, it's because OneDrive is owned by Microsoft, and of course, this is Microsoft, but I have it set up to where, and I can tell it which place I want it to go to. It'd be my Dropbox account, my OneDrive, whichever one.
So what is the OneDrive account? What is that?
OneDrive is a cloud service, just like Dropbox or Google Drive.
So do you go in and set up a password and a login and
Yes.
all that stuff? 'Cause
If
I
you've not
tried to
done that,
get
you
in
can
it.
just set you up an account, and you get, I think, 7 GB of free storage when you set up a OneDrive account.
Okay.
And then Pages, for those of you that have iPads and iPhones, Pages is the go-to when you're wanting to create not only nice letters, but you can also create nice presentation or flyers. And there's a lot of templates that you can do that you can choose from. And I've been using this one probably for the last 3 or 4 years, and most of my brochures are done on Pages. And one time I was on the go and someone needed me to send a press release out, and I didn't have anything, so I stopped. I was on my way back from Galax, and I stopped in Whitful at the Walmart and set up shop in the car. I put it in park. And I created a template of our stationery and then wrote the press release and then sent it as a PDF out to where I needed to send it to, and was able to do that on the go.
Were there templates for press releases in this?
I think there are with the new updates.
And is there another app that you get to go with this, or am I thinking of Keynote?
Both. There is templates for Pages out there that you can buy. They vary in prices. That gives you lots and lots of templates.
Okay.
So if it's a Friday afternoon and you're brain dead after a crazy week, or you got a cold and your creative mind's gone, then you can use some templates that are out there. Now, it is free for the newer devices. If you've got probably an iPad 4 or older, you're going to have to pay $9.99 for it. Sorry, I don't make the news, I just report it. Another one that I have fallen in love with is Canva. First of all, it's free, and you can do this, Gary, if you're having an event, you could actually go to your computer and create that in Canva. Just go to canva.com, create your account. And it's got, you use this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got tons of templates for whatever you want to do. If it's wanting to, for those of you that work with clients that are doing Facebook business pages, you can even create, there's templates in there where you can create a new header for your Facebook page or your Twitter or your Instagram. There's lots of templates, or you're doing a poster for an event. And you just basically upload your pictures if you want, if you don't want to use theirs. Now, some of their pictures they charge you if you use them, so you have to be careful. But you can upload your logos, and there's you created a document, and then you can export that document as a PDF or a JPEG. So if you do it on the JPEG, then you can just put it right up on your Facebook page or your website. But I've been using this for actually those two over there on the wall. The Winning Back the Disgruntled Customer and the Apps in Business I did in Canva.
And you're doing that on your PC?
I'm doing them on both. I might start it out on my iPad And then, once I get to work, I might wanna fine tune it, because I have maybe a graphic or something that, on my computer, so when I get to the office, I can do it. But see, as I'm doing it even on my computer, it's syncing it, and I can just see the most recent when I bring up the app.
That's the best part about it, that you can get it on the computer.
Plus the free. It is free. But I highly recommend it. And then, of course, you can create and edit documents in Google Docs. You can even download the app and have it, or you can do it up on your computer, bring up your Google or Gmail and go to the little, the only way I can explain it is your Brady Bunch blocks and click on it and you'll find Google Docs on there, and you just click it and there you can start doing your creating and you got it. Anybody use Google Docs that wants to add anything? Keep me honest. Another one that's becoming popular is a Kingsoft Office, and it's all web-based. And again, as you're creating and editing documents, it's syncing it up into the cloud. And I don't personally use it because I have enough apps to deal with, but it supports over 24 file formats for advanced editing. So it's just something, if you're in a bind and you need an option to fall back on, you can try Kingsoft. Any questions on that? Don't forget the test. Now, presentation apps. We heard a lot of good presentations last night at our My Southwest Virginia Opportunity Challenge. And then today, I'm doing a presentation, and what I love is I use Keynote on my Apple device. And with Keynote, I'm able to control it too, because I can sync it with my iPad or my iWatch. So I can click and move the slides on any of the devices. And that's one of the things I love about all this. And Keynote, if you start using Keynote, I know a friend in here that it took me a while to make her believe that Keynote was the way to go, Cindy Green. But now you've fallen in love with it, haven't you?
No, she didn't, just call me out.
Cindy had no idea.
Keynote is so much easier to use.
Natasha over to it.
Keynote is, trust me, it's so much easier to use, and it's cleaner and more user-friendly than PowerPoint. And one of the things I like, especially doing it on your device, is you're not having to deal with the mouse. You can just enlarge that or rotate it just using your fingers.
And see, that's where it falls apart for me. I'm better with the mouse.
It's just,
Or
and also if you like to use animation in your presentations, it's a lot easier and cleaner that way. And so if you created a presentation in Keynote, I can export that though as a PowerPoint or as a PDF. If Gary doesn't have an iOS device, I can export it to a PowerPoint version, and then he can make his changes and he can send it back to me, and I can import it and convert it back to Keynote, however you want to do it. And then, as of last fall, you can now have PowerPoint on your device too, for those diehards, and it's pretty much just like it would look on your computer.
I just got a thing, if anybody's familiar with Kim Commando, I just got something last week that they've come up with an addition or an extension of PowerPoint that makes it a little fancier. And I want to say it's PPT, and I think it's Pix or something like that. I downloaded it, but I haven't been able to get
I haven't
it
seen
to
it.
show up.
Is that one of her emails?
Yeah, it was one of her newsletter things in the last week or so. If I can find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
It's,
I like to learn.
Yeah, I haven't been able to, what happens is, you got your top block up there with all of the options up there, and it just adds another box up there, tab. But I can't seem to make it work on mine, I don't know why yet. I haven't had a chance to play around with it, but it's supposed to take a normal thing and just kind of fancy it up a little bit.
Sweet. Kind of like adding a Prezi touch to it.
That's what it says, it mentions that, and it says it's kind of halfway between PowerPoint and Prezi.
Okay. One thing I like about with the PowerPoint too, if I have those saved up in OneDrive or Dropbox or iCloud or Google Drive, I'm gonna be able to open those, make those changes, and then as it makes those changes, it's automatically saving it back into those cloud services again. It's so much easier. And I have to watch, if I'm doing anything on my work computer, I can't have, I can't download like the Dropbox to put another folder. I have to do everything through the web. And that's important to me, especially if I'm doing it on my iPad. As I'm working on it, it's going to be saving it up to Dropbox, and then I can just bring up the most recent onto my computer and I have it. Another one that people use is SlideShark. If you've got a presentation and somebody sent it to you, I don't know if they sent it to you as a joke, just as a PDF, and you've got 1 hour to go before you get up on stage to do that presentation, and you're sweating because what am I going to do with that PDF when I'm used to doing PowerPoints? Well, SlideShark will allow you to view that and present that presentation in a PDF format. I don't know who would do that to you, but it could happen. And then Prezi, Gary touched on Prezi a little bit. It's all cloud-based, and it's a presentation software. And we had, I think one of the presenters last night did their presentation online using Prezi. And it's kind of cool. And they've got a lot of animation and nice effects. Anybody use Prezi in here? How do you like it?
Oh, I'm a Prezi junkie. I love it. Prezi and Google Slides are my 2 favorite ways to go, honestly.
Does it allow you, though, to convert that if you have a partner that uses PowerPoint?
No.
See, that's the only negative in that.
Prezi is Prezi. If you have the internet, though, anybody can get to it from anywhere. So.
And then there's those times where you need to do a meeting and you're doing a presentation on that, or it could be even a webinar, and if you're using a Droid or iOS device, you can use Mighty Meeting now. And I get asked a lot, how can I do a webinar? There's you, if you're not using Google Hangouts, you can actually use Mighty Meeting to do that, where you can actually have your presentation, your PowerPoint up there. You can have it click in between your beautiful face and the presentation up there to do a webinar. You lost? You have that look. Any questions on that? Y'all quiet. Collaboration. How many times have you been on the go and someone sends you something and I need that signed ASAP? Been there, done that. I've been using, actually it's now called PudaSign, but it used to be called Sign Now. And I've used that for years, where if someone sends me a document, Dawn, we might be doing business together, you send me a contract that I need to sign. Well, I might be in Richmond and I can't get to it, and your time's at the essence, you can send me that document. I can sign it on my tablet or on my iPhone. I can use a stylus or use my finger to put my name on it, and then all I have to do is just send it right back up. A few months ago, I changed insurance companies for myself and my mother, and instead of us having to take her to the insurance agency, I just had him send me all the documents in an email. And then I just got on my iPad and gave her what she needed to sign. She signed it, and then we just emailed those right back to him in just a matter of minutes, and it just saves so much time.
So they're actually putting their handwritten signature, not
Yes.
that they select a signature.
You can do both. If it's something that you're doing and it's a program that you use all the time, you can tell it if you want to use your signature that you already have created in there, or if it's someone else, all they have to do is just give them a stylus.
It verifies your identity by the IP address that you are at.
Yes.
I used it at the credit union I worked at for years.
We used it at the university a lot.
Yeah.
I know BBU, I don't know if they're still doing it, but they used to use DocuSign all the time when they would have their field folks out and they're meeting with a client, a customer, and their water and sewer, and now you want to become internet. Well, they had those contracts. Instead of them having to do it, the actual paper contracts, they could bring it up on their device they could sign it, and then they could just send that right on up to the Bristol office, instead of the Bristol waiting until the end of the day when they bring all that. It just sped up the time to get these things processed tremendously. Any other, and that's also good if you've got a form that you need to send out or to fill out, and it's in a format that like PDF or something that you can't get it to work, you can just bring it up into Sign Now, and you could actually manually sign it, complete it. That's another option. And again, if you want to do meetings on the go, Cisco WebEx meetings is another way where you can do conference calls or two-way video. Unfortunately, the app is free, but if you're the one doing the meeting, there's going to be a cost behind it. But if you're participating, there is no cost.
It's so good.
But I like free. And then GoToMeeting is another one where you want to hold a meeting and you might have 25 or up to 100 people participating. This might be the way you want to go, is GoToMeeting, where you can have everybody online at the same time. Unfortunately, you cannot do much in the way of faces, but you're going to be able to see the content and hear everything. This is a cool app, Ubu, and actually a person that was in a workshop I did a few months ago told me about this, because she has 3 daughters and they're in different parts of the United States, and one of them, she was visiting one of their daughters and they were going shopping. So what they did was they could put the other 2 sisters on a video call with them while they were at the store, and it was just like the other 2 sisters were there, and that's the way they do it. They have all the family on these video calls, which I don't know if I want to do that with all my sisters, but you can have up to 12 friends at once on a call too. So that's another option besides Google Hangouts, is Ubu. Anybody ever heard of it? You have?
I've heard of it, I've never used it.
Well, and the cost is pretty good too. It's for a Droid or iOS. Is yours a Droid device?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other Droids in here? Is that for your personal? Everybody else is iOS? No BlackBerry or no Windows? I've tried to point out if there are, to what devices they work on, but predominantly all the apps, the majority are going to iOS and Android.
There were only 300 and some Windows-based apps as of February, as opposed to over 3,000 iOS and
But
Android.
people want to go to that because they're so used to using Windows on their computer, they think it's easier. I don't know. For those of you that have multiple teams and you need to keep up, if you're doing a project, for example, it could be a construction project, and you need to have all of your subcontractors being able to share files and to keep up to date with what's going on. Flow is a task management software. You can keep everybody updated. It's not free. It might be free to download, but to use it, but that's an option you can use. And that's used a lot in those kind of environments too. It could be you're the engineer on the project and you need to keep everything updated with all your subs. And then live stream. We're all learning about live stream. I guess we've been using this here since about February. Live streaming our events. I do my church every Sunday, and the thing I like about that is it's cost effective, it's free, and you basically, as it's streaming, it's uploading your content up onto their server, which means I'm not having to use all of my memory on my devices for an hour and a half, 2-hour session. And then when it's finished, once it's processed, all I have to do is download that video within 30 days. And now what I do is then we move that into our YouTube channel called New Knowledge, and now we're creating an archive of all of our New Knowledge series since February, and we have that. So if there's something that if you missed the one of how designing an ad, you'll be able to go back to that. We have it. And how are you all? You all using live stream? I know we did last night, but
Yeah, we need to use it more.
That would be a
You
great
guys
way.
live stream me without me even knowing.
Well, they've been doing it to each other and sending me the links so that I could see them doing
Yeah,
it.
We really do our job when we're off on these little adventures. That's what we use it for.
But to me, it's been great because for us, with the New Knowledge series, it's able to allow us to open up, because we've had people from Richmond to Lynchburg to Elizabethton, Tennessee, that's been joining us either live, but then we're also having people downloading those archived, where it gives us an option to put content up onto our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I need to get that one, because I wasn't able to attend the QuickBooks things, and so I'd like to watch those.
All you have to do is go to YouTube and search our New Knowledge channel, just search New Knowledge and start following us, and you'll have access to all of them. And then if you join our channel, you'll also be able to, you'll get an email every time we add a new one on there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's say we refer someone to a workshop that we've conducted. Will we know, does it keep track of who watches it, how long they watch it?
No, not for the free version. Now, if you charged an admission, a fee to it, that's the only way you'll know who is watching that live.
Will we know if they watch 30 minutes of it or the whole 2 hours?
The only way for me that I know is after I finish the event and I bring it up after it's posted, I can see how many times, how many views it's had, but it doesn't tell me who it is.
But that was while you were live streaming it, not once it was posted.
But you still don't know.
On YouTube, you definitely will.
You still don't know. That's just same as YouTube. Sorry, I don't make the rules, I just report them. And remember, you've got 30 days to do something with it, so you might have some of your nonprofits doing something, and this gives them an option that they can have, maybe they're funded, one of their funding sources is in Los Angeles, California, and they're wanting to try to keep a handle of what's going on, and you're doing that event. Well, here, you can just tune in here. And if the people, when you start following our live stream account, each week when we're doing the event, you get an email from us saying here with the link directly to it, and you have access. Or you can just bring it up and search for it under live stream. Any other questions? I know Tuesday I presented on behalf of the incubator at the Virginia Business Incubation Association, their annual conference, sharing what we are doing here, and people are amazed that what we're doing with such limited resources funding, being able to do that and increase our, I guess, our arms and our, what we're doing.
This would be, I've talked to some nonprofits about training and certificates and stuff, in certain areas, and they could be doing this exact thing. They could be live streaming and then download it to YouTube, and they can watch whenever they want.
Mm-hmm. Or any of their funding sources, or
Yeah.
maybe they have a sister organization in another part of the Commonwealth or in Tennessee or wherever. There's just a lot of opportunities. Kathy, did you want to say something? Oh, I thought
No, I was just, when it said certificate programs, you kind of have to be careful because you can't really tell who actually is and who actually isn't. You might have to have a test to see.
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah.
See if they saw stuff in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But now, one thing too, Gary, even though this is one way, the folks that are watching today, they can actually, there's a comment area where they can actually type in their questions. And then if you've got an administrator that's kind of watching it, Jennifer, she can see it called up, and then she can tell me, and then we can respond that way. And I've had that done in some of our sessions, that I had somebody in East Tennessee that had a question for the speaker, and so when there was an opportunity, I asked that on behalf of them, so they could get that answer.
Yeah. And you can do all this on your smartphone.
Yeah, you can do it on yours.
Set it on a tripod, and you can do it just what you're doing.
There's little mini tripods that you could have for your device, because I have one for my phone. So whatever it is, you got it. And that's the way we did last night's sessions,
Yeah.
was using live stream. This is a cool app called Here Match. If you do trade shows or you're going to major conferences with, hundreds and hundreds of people, Here Match, if they've got this app on their device, you can put in that maybe I'm wanting to look for folks that are involved in micro loan programs, and they're at the same conference. What you could do then is find them using location-based and send them a little note that says, I'd like to learn more about your program. Could we meet for coffee or something like that? Yes, ma'am.
Do they just have to be linked with you on, like, say, LinkedIn, for example, or do they have to be linked with you on LinkedIn and have this program, this app?
They have to have the app for it to
Okay.
work.
Okay.
But you might, again, they cannot send a note with a link to their account on Twitter and say, I'm at such and such event, and you see that, and it'll show you what their focus is, and then you can connect with them. It's just a way to make that experience. If any of you all have done a trade shows, it's with 10,000 people going to a trade show, it's kind of hard to meet with some of the folks that you want. This is, it gives you an option to kind of home in on it. Now, you have to be careful, though. I probably wouldn't go and meet anybody unless Cindy was with me. And then how many of y'all have multiple contacts with the same person on your devices and it's starting to get monotonous? Smarter allows you to merge all of those multiple contacts and put them all into one, to get rid of all those multiple ones, I guess is the biggest way to say it.
So it creates one contact?
One contact, and gets rid of those 2 and 3 that you have of the same person. When you've done it through the years for multiple, if you exported those from different accounts, could be your Outlook and your Google or your Gmail accounts, you can have them all in one. And then HeyTell, this is kind of cool. If you're doing, and this would be great for Gary, for your nonprofits, if they're doing an event and they have team members in different parts of the facility or the grounds, but you need to keep up with what's going on. You've got to, there's someone coming to your door, they need this help. HeyTell is sort of like it's just like having a walkie-talkie. It turns your phone into a walkie-talkie, and it sends a voice message. So what you do is you just hold this.
I like who's at the top of your list.
Pardon me? Not too special. All you do is as you're holding this button down, you're speaking into it, and as soon as you let off on it, it's sending that to them, to their HeyTell account. And they'll get a little beep, just like they was getting a text, and then they can just click on it and they can hear whatever it is you're saying, and you can go back and forth. Again, it's just like a walkie-talkie. But I can see all kinds of ways that can help for some of your partners.
Oh, yeah.
Or I might want to say, hey, Kathy, can you bring me a cold beverage or something? And then I'm going to sit
Well, when I was the property manager at the Y, we had people in different parts of the building doing certain things that should have been great for that.
Yeah. And then note-taking apps. One that I've used for years is Notability. The reason I like this is I'm taking the notes. It's actually, I can record the audio. So it's syncing the audio with the location on the page that I'm taking the notes. So, and 6 weeks later, I want to, if it's been a conference, a 2-day conference, and I don't want to have to listen to all of it, all I have to do is touch anywhere on the screen, and it will fast forward or rewind in the audio, and that's the only part I have to listen to. Maybe it was someone that said something about a micro loan program, and I couldn't remember all the details. Then all I have to do is click on it, and I can just hear that portion of the conference or the presentation and hear it. The last time I checked, it was $1.99, but to me, it's been well worth it. And you can also put up pictures during the event. You can even put captions underneath it. So if you're the one that's going to the conference, but you want to share all your notes with someone else, then you can do that. It'll have it all right there. Evernote. Anybody use Evernote? Oh, you locked out? Evernote is an iOS, and it works a lot like Notability, where you can, they vary. Sometimes on the free version, it'll allow you to not only take the notes, but it'll record the audio, but they've been changing so much that they've taken away the voice recording. So I don't know. I don't use Evernote. I have it on my device, but I don't use it. Anybody use it, Evernote? Does it, will allow you to, on the free version, record it?
Evernote has extensions, like Sketch, and so, but the extensions tend to be free as well. So it may be that I don't use voice notes, they don't do me any good, but there's an extension for almost anything on Evernote.
And Evernote's good too, like if you're reading something on your Safari and it's a article that you want to save. I do this a lot. I can save it into a folder I have in Evernote, and I can refer back to it as I'm getting ready to do my workshop, because I've been planning for it for the last 6 months. Then I can start getting my data and so forth for it. Google Keep is again for the Droid, and I haven't used this for iOS too, but where you can create a checklist, you can enter a voice note, snap a picture. And it's just a quick way kind of keeping up with activities. Maybe you're at a festival and you want to maybe make a picture of that table that you were at and that product, and you might want to go back to it later and you can't remember. Well, you've done a little quick note of it. And then there's those people that cannot type very well, but they can write. This is an app that will allow you to write everything using a stylus, and it'll convert that writing into text for you. So then you can share your notes.
Does it have spell check?
I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, but there's doctors out there that I don't know how they would read their writing. But
Exactly. Okay.
I'm sure it's like on the iOS, it's like Siri. After a while, it has to kind of you have to start using it so it'll understand your. People say I have an accent. I don't hear it, but it has to get used to it. And then there's apps out there if you want to keep up with news, and I use a variety of these, like Flipboard. I can keep up with all of my social media accounts on this one location, and then if I want to read my Twitter, all I have to do is hit the box, and it'll bring up all my Twitter feeds. But one of the things I like about it, it all looks like a magazine. So if someone attached an article, it's going to show that article link. Not only the link, but it's going to show the article. It's going to come up to it. Same way with Facebook. And if you're using an iOS device and someone's put something up if you're using Safari to look at Facebook and not the app, and it's in a video and you can't play it, I can play it on Flipboard. Plus, you can read lots of magazines too, from People, keep up with CNN, all those. And then Google Currents is kind of the same thing as Flipboard. Basically does the same thing if you want to stay with your Google. Zeit is another one too, where if I want to keep up, like I keep up with anything that's being said about apps, technology and business, small business, entrepreneurship. What this will do is it will keep up with the most recent article first, and you can see there it gives me a little synopsis about what it is, and then all I have to do is click on it and it'll bring up that full article. So that it's kind of like having a news clipping service just for you, and you tell it what you want it to follow and it'll go to it. So that's kind of like your own personal service right there. And then productivity apps, Square, if you want to take mobile payments, you can do that on Square, process up to a variety of credit cards. I guess Square is probably the most well-known in the industry, but there's certainly others out there. If you're a PayPal, if you have a PayPal account, you might want to use the PayPal app. I know there's several people that used to use Square now are going to PayPal because it seems to be easier, and I think the fees may be more competitive. I don't use them. Do you all, anybody use any of these?
I used it when I volunteered at a block party, and we used the PayPal, and it's way easier to use it. I mean, Square is easy, but it's more self-explanatory and easier to use, and it's faster process.
And PayPal does not fight the chip cards the way, the Square has a real hard time with the chip cards.
Yeah.
You have to basically type in the the card number on the
I just tell
screen.
people, no matter what you do, read the fine print when you set up those accounts
Yeah.
for all the fees that are hidden in there, and do your research before you make the leap. And this is a cool app. If you have a Salesforce and they're all over the place, and let's say that someone from here, I had a sales representative that went to Roanoke, and just to make one delivery or one sales call. With Sales Navigator, while they're there, they can actually look up and find all the other customers in proximity to the one they're visiting. So they might want to make a call while they're there. They've already spent 2 hours on the road. They might want to call on a couple of those customers right while they're there. And they can actually, when they click on that, you can bring up their profile and you can see, like when was the last time that they were called on or when they made the last purchase. So it just makes you a little bit smarter when you're making those calls and saves those extra trips. I think this would be perfect though if I had a Salesforce and they're all over the place. This is great for folks that are starting a new business and you need to have a logo developed, you need brochures, business cards and so forth. Fever is made up of folks that are graphics artists. They maybe do language translations from all over the world, and it's kind of like a bidding process. You put out the kind of work you need done. I've had some lady that started out her new business, and she had someone design her a logo that was located in Ireland, and she just kept working with them because it's so much easier. All you have to do is just send them the information with internet, and they were able to do something that dramatically decreased her cost. Or she was getting ready to break into the European market, and she needed to have something translated, a flyer. There's translation service, or you're doing a video, and you need to translate that into Spanish. You have people there that from all over the world, and again, the fees are very very competitive. It's very well known now. And then how many of you don't have a stack of business cards that you've not done anything with? I'm the only one that's
mobile.
This is great. You can actually scan that business card. I do this all the time. When someone hands me a business card, I've got this app, Scan Biz Cards. I can scan it, but it basically takes a picture of it, and then it scans it. And it automatically detects the company name, phone, fax, their name, contact information, everything. And you can verify that everything is correct. And anytime you can make sure if there's any changes it didn't recognize, and then when you got it right, all you have to do is save it, and it'll save it right into your contacts. Or you can even export it out to your LinkedIn or your Salesforce account, and you can share that contact. And trust me, it'll help.
Does Crafter work the same way?
Crafter is just your QR code scanner.
Okay,
No,
not business.
this is different.
Okay.
Another one is CamCard too, but it seems like I heard something about CamCard recently their system was hacked, but I don't know.
What's the difference between the light version and
The light version is free and you only can scan, I think it's 5 cards a week. The paid version will allow you to scan as many as you want, but it'll also sync them up into the cloud so that you can, if you want to, then if I've been scanning all these on my iPhone and I want to have them on my Outlook on my computer, then you can access them that way. And then if you're traveling and you need to have a document scanned, instead of having to go to the hotel and spend those, I don't know, $2 or $3, I don't even know what it costs now. I've used this. I haven't used our document scanner in our office for probably 4 years. I use this. So if I purchase something for the office and I need to scan that invoice, all I have to do is it takes a picture of it, it scans it, and then it'll save it as a PDF or a JPEG, and I can just send it on to Richmond.
Does it come out looking like a photo, or does it come out looking like a document? I mean,
Looks like a document, and you can clean it up if it's dark. Now, of course, it's going to depend. If you're in a dark room, it's not going to come out very good.
I mean, it's like taking a photo.
Yeah, but you can also adjust the lightness. Anybody use that one? Use it? Scanner Pro is one too that people use, and it's used a lot by the Droid users as well. That's basically the same thing. Some cloud-based storage apps, we touched on that a little bit, of various options that are out there. Dropbox is one. When you set up an account, you get 2 gigabyte of free storage. I mentioned about Google Drive. That's if you've got a Gmail account, you've automatically got access to 15 gigabyte of free storage. Imagine how many of those flash drives you're getting rid of by that. OneDrive is by Microsoft, gets 7 gigabyte. One that I like, and if you scan today's presentation, it'll shows you that I've got that saved on box.net. You get 10 gigabyte of free storage. So you really don't have to buy much in the way of storage. And you can, I have accounts set up with most all of these, and how I keep them separate, it could be that I want to keep up with the church when I'm using a Google Drive account for that. And for presentations, I'm using my box.net. So you make that decision. But it's a great way to have everything up there, you can access it. And if you're not familiar with Dropbox, it basically allows you to upload documents either from your PC or your smartphone devices, and you can access them from anywhere. And Box.net, I already mentioned, I love that one. And OneDrive, again, is a Microsoft platform. You get free, 7 gigabyte of free storage, and all you have to do is just go to your app stores and download the apps. It can either be Google Drive or OneDrive, and then set up an account, put in all the credentials, and you're going to have that.
Okay, I have a question.
Answer.
When we have some board members that are on banks,
Mm-hmm.
work at banks rather, and they have a really hard time being able to access cloud, and I'm trying to work that out. They cannot access Dropbox, will not let them. So then we've tried OneDrive, and some of them are struggling and
Well, the
saying they're
problem
not
is it's
able
just
to
too
get.
full. Our Dropbox is only 2 gigs. It's full. It's
No,
not.
I'm not talking about.
They're-
I'm talking
because
about
of
their
their-
Dropbox.
there's
When
the
I send
security
them
for their
something,
firewall.
that their
Firewalls.
Yeah, the firewalls are not allowing it. So, do you know of any off the top of your head that would work for that type of situation?
I suspect probably any of them that they're having to go to the web and download.
Well,
That's
even to
probably
be
what
able
it is.
to-
It's the downloading is
Well,
what's
that's what I
stopping
said.
it.
I said, can you not just go to the internet and view it on OneDrive? Don't download it, just view it. And they're saying that they can't even do that.
Well, I'm sure that's the way they've got their
Personal emails is the only way I can figure out to get around it.
what kind of document is it?
Big documents.
I mean, no, what's in it?
Loan documents with credit files and business plans.
Because what I was gonna suggest, if you, put it up into SlideShare, you can do multiple documents. You could save that, take that document and save it as a PDF, upload it to SlideShare, and I think you can set it up as private. And then all you have to do is send them a link, and they should be able to view that like a web page on SlideShare.
Okay.
SlideShare.net, that's a free one too that you can use.
Okay.
That, I would try that. Do they not have smartphones or anything, or they're doing everything at their banks?
That's what I'm thinking, going personal email. If they don't have one, just say, set up a Gmail. We'll send you a notification at your work email that you need to go to.
Yeah, we had that problem with bankers that are in the Rotary Club, and when you send an email out from the Rotary website, it gets stopped at their server every time, and, you know, if they don't wanna give you an email address that's personal, then they need to.
What about you setting
Option.
What about you setting up a Gmail account for them?
I'm sorry.
What about you setting up a Gmail account for them?
Well, yeah, I mean, that, I haven't done that yet, but I'm just in the fact finding right now to try to figure out a solution that works for everyone.
My first would be SlideShare as an
Take them
option.
off the board.
What about putting it on a Google Doc and then inviting them to it? Because that's,
I don't even, I don't know that they can access that. I'm
Yeah.
just talking about the
Okay.
bankers, not everybody else, just them.
Because they have a really limited.
Something
internet
about
access.
their access.
What I would do is just send them a document, maybe a couple page document of something and through SlideShare and just see if they're able to view it as a web as a web document,
Mhm.
just like if they were going to,
The only thing that concerns me about using SlideShare is this is very confidential information, and I know I could set it to private, but that kind of freaks me out a little bit. To put it on SlideShare, maybe that's just my paranoia, but I mean, it's people's credit information, so you
Yeah.
have to be very secure in how to do it. I think the personal email is probably gonna be the solution.
and if they don't know how to set up a Google, I would just do it for them. And just put it John Doe People Inc. @gmail.com, and then you could have the email that it goes to, or you all set up to where, you know, if something happens and you need to change the password to it, that it comes to one of your all's address.
True.
Keep control over it.
Yeah.
Spider, by the way, is for those that are sending, it's another cloud-based, that you can send information. You can even, if you wanna have this set up on your desktop computer and where you wanna back up stuff, you can have it timed to where it goes out a certain amount, a certain time of the day, where it's backing up your device. Hightail is great for, could be an engineering firm where they have large documents. It gives you an option to upload, and you can do data encryption too. And a lot of these cloud services too, you can have multiple sign-in options to keep it if you're paranoid about that information, or it's a two-step sign-in process. Some travel apps, Tripic is one that you might want to look at where you can get directions. You can even look at maps. You know, so you can schedule, have it synced to your calendar, either your Google Calendar or your Outlook, that give you information, and you can even get, Tripic does real-time flight alerts, so if there's something that flight is on delay, it'll send you a little alert so you can keep up with it. Tripcase too is another one that a client mentioned to me that she uses for her boss, where she has a single location where she can keep up with his entire itinerary, all his flight schedules, his hotel. If he's renting a car, everything's in one location and she can keep up with it. Makes life a lot easier. If you are getting ready to go on a trip to Paris and that you're wanting to quickly learn French in a short amount of time, Duolingo will allow you within 3 months. It's kind of a fun type app that'll help you to learn new languages, kind of like I won't say a workbook, but it's kind of cartoons and fun stuff to learn. Remember, I'm just giving you a little synopsis of things that are up there. Yelp. I use this when I'm traveling, and if it's at a hotel that I'm not stayed at, I want to see what people are saying about the hotel, or if it's a restaurant and I'm not quite sure. It doesn't look too hot on the inside, but I'll read what the reviews that people have said on Yelp. And
You can find some good hidden restaurants by using it.
yep. And then, how many of y'all been parked in a parking building in a downtown area and you forget where you parked at, your car? Come
Oh, I
on,
need
you
that.
did it, didn't you?
I always hit the emergency button.
Park Bud,
Of course
Park
they're gonna
Bud is
cost
just
you,
kind
they're
of
gonna
keeps up
make
and
you
it,
pay.
and it tells you when you're ready and you're finished that meeting, it'll point you back to your car. And if you're in a meter parking lot, you can have it set that, okay, I need to come back out in 2 hours and put more money into the meter. And if you're hungry after the meeting and you want to find a place to eat, it'll even give you directions on and give you hints of places to.
Now you're telling me they don't find my car in the parking lot when I can't remember where I parked?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
usually.
that's worth $2.99 right there, for sure.
And I learned about it from someone that attended a workshop, and she said it's helped her a whole lot to get out of jams. Especially if it's in a place that you've not been before, and someone is directing you, and you're going on all these streets, and they say, well, we're stopping here. You know, I can't keep up with it all. You could have this set up. Mile IQ too will to keep up with your mileage. This is great if you're in sales and you want to keep up and make sure that you're charging that client the right amount of mileage for that work. And here's some other ones that you can keep up, odometer and MileBub does the same thing. And this is something a lot of people use. Again, I use salespeople as a great example. If you're using your own personal car and you need to keep up with your mileage, this is something you might want to look at. And then Gas Buddy, tell me, everybody in here, do you use Gas Buddy? I love that, do you? Yeah. This is basically depending on if it's on red and you feel like you're on fumes and you need to find the closest gas station, or if you're cheap, usually like me, and I want to find the cheapest. You know, I want to see what Sam's and Food City's fighting it out on the price of gas and see where I can get it the cheapest. This is pretty cool. And then Waze. How many of you use that?
I use that all the time.
Love. It will give you, Gary, this would be great if you're on the road a whole lot. Not only will it give you turn-by-turn directions, but the people that are in front of you are using Waze, so if they see an accident ahead, it'll tell you the mileage ahead, and if you need to get off and you want to find a reroute around it, it'll even give you directions to it. If the cops are radaring, it kind of gives you those hints about it, although if we're not doing if we're not going over the speed limit, we don't have to worry about that, do we? Natasha, we don't have to worry about if we're not going over the speed limit.
Oh, you know I do not go over the speed limit.
I used this a lot when they were doing the road 81 between Roanoke and Christiansburg, and you got stuck so often. Oh gosh, those tail lights I thought they'd never get that construction. But that's just a great little app and it's free.
And you can make him talk to you in Elvis style.
Seriously, you can?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, mine sounds like my little British Bixby, and hers sounds like Elvis. You don't want to be in the car with her. That's what
I think that would be awesome.
Okay, some more apps. Gig Sky, if you're traveling abroad and you're wanting to use your cell phone, but you don't want to have to spend all of the roaming charges, you can get 10 megabyte of free data when you set up a Gig Sky, and then you could also, depending on the country you're wanting, you can add additional onto that, so you can use your cell phone when you're traveling. Some shopping apps will go fast. If you are wanting to scan a QR code, you've got Grafter. If you're at a little mom and pop shop and they says scan this and you get an extra 10% off or enter to win the contest, you can scan it. You can also, there's barcode scanners. I don't know about you, but I've used this, the Price Checker app, where if you're at Target and you want to see if it's cheaper at Amazon, you can just scan the code on the package, and you can find it if it's cheaper. Keyring, how many of you all have those loyalty cards that you've got in your billfold and on your keyring, and here you've got it on one keychain, but I'm driving a different vehicle? Well, you can scan all of your loyalty cards into Keyring, and instead of you having to go looking to see if is it on my keys or is it in my billfold, all you have to do is bring up for the Food City, it'll bring up your barcode, and you just scan it, put it underneath and they can scan it on the front of your device, on the screen.
I wonder why they had to come up with that.
Oh, it's been out for a year, so. And Mobile Pocket is another one that does the same thing, so you can keep up I never have my Walgreens with me, my card, so that's just gives you an option. Again, when you just hit for what store, what company, it brings up and it has your barcode, just like it would be on your keyring. Contact management software, if you want to keep up with all your clients, VIP Orbit was actually designed by the man that created ACT, and where you can keep up, when was the last time I made a sales call on that client. It gives you where you can create calendars to remind you that I need to touch base with them in 6 months. So, by the way, they have a birthday coming up, I want to send them a card. It's all those kind of contact managements to make the most. It's all about networking. If you have a company, for example, if you're a customer service or a service industry and you want to keep up with all the calls in for service tickets, Zendex will allow you to keep up with that, those inbound tickets, and you can clear it out. Issue. Here's another CRM, customer relationship management software. Again, this kind of works like the others. Keep up with your calendar appointments. Whatever you're doing on your device is being synced up into on your account. Simpler is another contacts manager software where you can, again, merge some of those duplicate clicks or duplicate contacts that you've got on there. You can also put folks into groups. So if you want to keep your business clients different from your nonprofit, you can put them in groups so that when you're doing an email campaign, you can segment them into groups. Sales Now is another CRM contact management software. Some functionality apps. How many of you use Siri? Sorry, Gary, you need to go iOS. If you are, I use Siri all the time, especially if it's that time of the evening. I'll just say, Siri, do a wake-up call or wake me at 6 o'clock, especially if I'm traveling. I never fool with the clocks in the hotel rooms. Or Siri, remind me to pick up milk on the way home, and it automatically knows. Or I'm working on a presentation. And I want to look up images. You just tell Siri what it is you need, and she does it. And a cool one, if you ever done this, hey Siri, planes above, and sorry. What it will do is it goes to some service and it will actually, using your GPS, tell you what planes are flying above you, and it'll give you the flight number, the altitude, and what angle they are. I'm not making this up, Gary. It's there. Remember Big Brother? They're watching you.
Yeah, I bet they are.
And Google Now is kind of the same thing. I guess do you use that on your Droid?
I do.
Use just like that. And then if you are not good at texting, you can use Google or a Dragon Dictation, where you can speak into your device and it will translate that into text. I have Siri do that for me. Print Central Pro, there's times where you need to print documents and you can print from these. I've used Print Central Pro from probably the time I started using an iPad. If you've got a Wi-Fi printer or air printer at home, you can use it. But also in my office, I have a color laser printer that's old, that doesn't have Wi-Fi, but I have it hooked into an old PC. And I have a software called WinPrint that's part of this. And I can be in here, or I can be in Richmond and send documents to print to that old printer in my office, and they're there waiting for me. So there's an option that you can to print from your device. A Team Viewer, there's times where you might want to view, if you're on the go and you want to view everything that's on, you need to connect to your computer at home or at the office and you're at the beach. Team Viewer will allow you to do that. It's free. All you have to do is download a piece of software onto your computer, and then you have the app on your device. And I use this at home to check my security cameras. If they're not working, I can just log on from my device to my home computer, and it works great. It's pretty fast too. Right Networks is another remote desktop application too. Remember, I'm just giving you options that does basically the same things. And I think this is included in part of the iCloud online version, where you can have everything running from the cloud using QuickBooks. LiveCams Pro, if you've got security cameras at home, I do. I have IP cameras, and I can view them live on my devices. This is kind of a screen capture of all of them, and I can see if someone drove up. I can see as it happens. It'll also it sends me emails if it's detected motion, so I can keep up. Here's one that if you go to Sam's Club and you get those, that's got like 6 or 12 cameras, DVR systems through Samsung, you can actually view what's going on. It'll send you pictures and so forth through your email. So you got options. Remote, if you've got, how many of you got Apple TV? And if you've got Apple TV, it's got that little bitty remote, and I'm always losing it. I can control my Apple TV from my iPad using this device or from my iPhone. So I can fast forward if I'm watching something, pause it, whatever. If I want to go to my Netflix, my Hulu, I've got it.
Can you do that with a smart TV, or does it have to be an Apple TV?
Apple on this one, I think.
Because mine does smart TV. I've got one where it'll change your everything.
What's you remember what it is?
It came with my phone. It was already downloaded on the phone.
You have a Samsung.
Is that your,
Laptop. What?
Are you-
Quick
are you-
remote.
Are you on Samsung?
Quick remote.
quick remote? I have to
That's what
remember.
I have too.
You've touched on Sketch. If you have a picture or there's a map that you've got on your, it's usually a picture, and you need to add stuff, you need to annotate it. Sketch is free, and you can do that. You could add circles around it, maybe you are, got a property, you've got an aerial of a piece of property you're looking at, and you want to show the property line and where the water and sewer comes in and all that, you can do that, right on your device. How many times have you got a picture, but you need to take out portions of it? It might be a picture of my three sisters, and I want to take out my, picture of my sister out of it. Knockout is, I love it. I'll show you an example of what I've done. This is my little buddy from church, Brady, and Brady is obsessed with basketball, and he loves, notice he looks like a little coach there. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to take Brady, and I wanted to take him and just have him the only one in that picture. And then what I wanted to do then is take him in that picture and put him at a NBA game being a coach. And I was able to do that on Knockout. I use this a whole lot, especially if I've downloaded something and I want to take out a portion of it. If it's a picture of me and I want to take out the background.
Take out yourself.
And then maybe you've got two photos and you want to superimpose them into one.
Yeah.
Superimpose will allow you to do that. So I had, one picture, and then I wanted to add this to it. You can superimpose two pictures onto one. You can even add text to it. Photoshop Express, if you're used to using Photoshop on your computer, I've never mastered either one, so I don't use it. It's on my device, but you've got an option there. Facetune, you can actually, you got that ugly picture, and you can now clean it up using Facetune. Take out those little smudges, all that. Well, it's whatever you want to do. You can paint it up all you want.
These are all usable, because I'm old and I don't have a clue about some of this stuff. You can do this on the computer too. You just download this program.
If they're
I mean, it's
available,
not
I don't
just
know
for-
if they're available on a computer or not. You'll have to see. Not all of them do. Some of them just app. Then if you started taking video on your devices and you want to upload it to YouTube, YouTube Capture is a great way that you want to take that video you have and just put it right up on using your account. It's just a matter of a few steps, and you can even put music in the background. I use iMovie for videos now, where you can create a nice movie. I do all kinds of stuff on it. I create lots of movies using iMovie. Anybody use that? You have it? It's fantastic.
Sandy never sleeps.
Yeah. She creates iMovies, goes out of town, teaches us
Sometimes all at the
things.
same time.
Sometimes all at the same time, yeah.
Actually, when I download the live stream on my device, I open it in iMovie, and then I add an opening page. And if I've had to, if something happens in the recording and I have two different movie files, I can put them together and put a closing page on it, and then that creates an iMovie file, and then I can upload it to YouTube. No, you can do it. You can do it. Andromedia is another one for Droid. It does a lot of the same things. I want to be quick. If you have various Facebook business pages, you can quickly add stuff to it, check on it, publish things. One of the things I like to do is schedule my posts. So I can do that on all the Facebook business pages that I have, various accounts. And then there's Twitter. And by the way, Twitter is, if you did your Siri and say, I can do, hey Siri, what is Cindy Green saying today? Because it knows that you and
That
I
I'm
are
your
friends and I'm
favorite,
following. It'll show me the last 6 tweets that you've done on Twitter. Hootsuite
That's
is
creepy.
something that I use too to quickly make one post, and I can tell it to go onto my Facebook business page. I can tell it to go to my Twitter, my LinkedIn, whichever one. I can do them all in one status post. And LinkedIn, that's another. If you have use the LinkedIn as a professional social media account. You can do posts on there, you can respond to friend requests, you can do a lot of stuff on there. Quickly, entertainment apps, there's apps, about all the networks have apps out there that you can actually watch programming. Truth be known, I probably do more watching of TV programming on my iPad than I do on my DirecTV. Plus, a lot of times there's less commercials, and I really dig that. If you want to watch movies, Crackle is free. You can watch tons of old TV programs and movies. If you've got grandchildren, they're coming over and they want to see cartoons, just put them in front of that because you don't have to pay for it. Or you can have paid accounts through Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. Another one that I love is Show You, where you can find anything that's gone viral up on the internet. You can find it on Show You first. And there's some entertaining things, especially watching people try to learn to ski or drive in Russia. I can lose my breath watching some of these. And usually after I've watched them on Show You, a couple of days later, there is on Today's Show for ABC News. So it's anything that's going viral, you'll find it up on Show You. If you want to listen to music, you've got options. You've got Pandora. If you've got an iOS device, you've got iTunes Radio. And I don't know if anybody's used TuneIn, but if I've used this when the weather's bad, I can actually log in and listen to Washington County's Fire and Rescue and Police Department, their scanner channel on this. So if I'm trying to figure out, am I going to be able to make it home from Roanoke, I can listen to them live. It's just kind of like how they're scanner. Or you can listen to WXPQ, and I'm in, St. Louis, Missouri visiting. I'll be able to listen to the radio. And then, by the way, there's WCYB has an app, and I watch the news via their live stream on their app because I don't have to watch any commercials. Because it goes blank while they're in commercials and it comes back, so I don't have to listen to who's got sales in cars. Summary, there's total maps out there for whatever you want to do. It's just up there you need to go find it and search it and use them. You've got to adapt, and one of the major things is use these apps, use your equipment to get the most out of them. You're paying the data plans you've paid if you've got them. These devices are not cheap, and you can do more than just play solitaire on it. You start using it in your work. It's not what app you should use, it's how you should use it. It's basically where you're at. Anything that I missed? Sorry, we're going about 5 minutes over. You gonna use any of these? Any other questions?
Yep.
I've been steadily sending my husband business apps.
Good,
So-
good. If there's everything I can do to help you or any of your clients, just let me know. That's what we're out there for, and I'm just a phone call or a click away. I thank you for coming. And don't forget, our next session next week is winning back a disgruntled customer, and I think anybody that works in the public has had a disgruntled customer. I've got that. Yes.
For help on this right here.
Yeah, I wanna download this.
We scanned it,
I didn't have any trouble downloading it.
but now we
Thank you.
cannot save it.
I wanna